Hello, darlings. Hey, what's up? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've seen y'all. It's been a minute since we've talked. And today we got some good stuff to talk about. Well, I guess I should say night because it's nighttime. So I'm about to give y'all this nighttime tea, okay? Tea about the money. The money as an anesthesiologist assistant. So last time we talked about how much y'all can make in this career being an AA. This time we're going to talk about the student loans that you might accrue trying to become an AA, okay? So let me just start by saying that I am not a financial guru, okay? I have been, like these last few days, first of all, I've always been interested in finances, but I'm not a guru, okay? These last few days, I've just kind of been listening to different things, listening to different people, trying to navigate my own loans, all those types of things. But I'm going to give y'all what I know, okay? We're going to work through this together. And I'm going to give y'all a little bit of what to expect for, just after you're done, you've graduated 6 months after or a year after, okay? We'll get into how you might push it back a whole year, okay? So I got my book down here. I'm looking down for sure because it's just distractions. It's distractions. But anyway, so the average cost of AA school, like tuition wise, is between like $110,000 to $120,000. That's a lot of money. And let me tell y'all something. When I was applying and doing all my school stuff, I ain't had it. I ain't had none of that. So I had to, in order for me to pay for my AA program, I had to take out financial aid, Grad Plus loans, okay? So I'm gonna let y'all in a little bit on my business, okay? I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of my business. Your girl looking at about maybe like $280,000 in loans, okay? I know it's a lot and it's scary. It's scary. But I know the Lord, and the Lord knows me because I am one of his favorite children, okay? So we're going to get through it together. And we're going to get it through together, okay? So yeah, so I'm currently sitting at about $280,000 of student debt. How did I get here? I'm going to tell you, okay? So like I said, so the average kind of AA program was between $110,000 and $120,000. So that kind of accounts for that part of it. But also, like I use financial aid to get my undergraduate degree in chemistry. So when I got my bachelor's, I used financial aid for that. So that went, that's also in my debt, okay? So let's see, my undergraduate degree, the master's degree, which is the AA program. And then I did some life exploring too, okay, which I needed to get some license for that. And that probably got me about $20,000, $22,000 in the debt too. So that accounts for about $270,000 of my total student loan debt that I took out through financial aid. I also have some personal loans, and by personal loans, I mean the Bank of Dad. Don't get me wrong, like, y'all, I don't come from money. I'm telling y'all this right now. I was able to borrow from the Bank of Dad over a period of time. It was like kind of like small amounts along the way, okay? So that's about $10K. And like I said, this has kind of been over some years. And most of it's been kind of like, we'll get into it. So yeah, so I'm sitting at about $280K. So the good thing about like this particular personal loan, dad loan, is it's no interest. So if you have somebody who can help you out or whatever, ask them. Closed mouths don't get fed, okay? Like you can pay them back. You'll have the money to pay them back eventually. You know what I'm saying? Believe in yourself and invest in yourself. And you'll have people to invest in you too, okay? Pray about it. So, yeah. So $280,000, undergraduate degree, personal loans, and some other stuff I did. So that was how I got into $280,000 worth of debt. What did I spend the money on? So we're going to talk about, we really don't care about the undergrad stuff. There's kind of like regular stuff and all of that, but especially for the master's program, the tuition loan was $120,000. Also my personal loan, that little $10K, kind of helped me with the master's program because there's a couple things that you're going to have to pay for. for example, some places that you go travel to as an AA student may not be paid for by the school. So if you need like an Airbnb or food or, you know, like just traveling, things like that, that's kind of where that personal loan kind of came from. And you'll also use your financial aid with that too. Mainly the reason I had to do the personal loan was because it would be times like, you know, there's a time between when you actually get the money for your, like the check from your financial aid, and let's say you need an Airbnb and you have to make the payment now because you're going next month. So that's why I'd be like, hey, like, you know, Bank of Dad, can I borrow such and such amount of money just so I can secure my Airbnb, and then I'll pay it back to you once I get the Airbnb, or once I get the check back to pay for the Airbnb. And so I did a lot of transactions like that, just because like time-wise, some things just aren't going to add up when you want them to. So I would say be prepared for that. And take that like strong, but a little bit lightly, only because like, I mean, I worked before I started this program, and I was really good at saving money. I was really good at budgeting money. And even all of that, I still didn't have enough on my own to do what I needed to do. So again, if you have the resources, like if you have people who, you know, may let you borrow some money, ask. You know, and of course, like if it's not gonna, they're not gonna charge you any interest or whatever, because that's really gonna help in the long term when it is time for you to start paying them back. Okay. So yeah. So what else did I pay for? Airbnbs mainly. Yeah, just travel things and food. So you also gotta think that when you're traveling, some of these places that you go to, they may not have a refrigerator. They may not have I don't know, most places do have a microwave, but they may not have a stove for you to cook on, which means like maybe you're eating out, or maybe you're eating at the hospital, but it's not a hospital where they're feeding you for free. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't sneak into the doctor's lounge and just do what you gotta do. So you also have to have money allocated for that. What I did was I had took my air fryer with me, and we were traveling to fried chicken. The only thing about it is you also kind of need pots and pans and stuff if you're going to stay at Airbnbs or whatever hotel you're going to stay at. They may not have those things, or maybe they'd be like, oh yeah, we got a refrigerator, but it's like a mini refrigerator. You can fit nothing in it. So just think about those things when y'all are traveling. That was just kind of another like money thing that you may not think about as a student or a future student, whatever. And then parking. Some hospitals, they don't offer free parking. When I was in Houston, the parking was $15 a day. So if you're doing a month rotation, a 2-month rotation, like $15 a day really adds up, you know, and that was like the max. Because chances are you're going to be there from, like 6 in the morning to maybe, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're going to pay that $15, you know? So that stuff adds up. I know that some students did get a pass for that. Mainly the students who got passed for that in my class was because like they were based in Houston, so it made more sense for them to have a parking pass versus me. I was based in Austin, so I only came down to Houston for like maybe like 2 months, and they might have been separated or whatever the case might have been. So that was another kind of thing I had to pay for. Didn't really have to pay for too much technology. Like I already had an iPad from college. I just brought that with me. I had a laptop as well. I already brought that with me. But if you don't have those things cost money. You can work, save up to buy yourself one. I recommend doing that. I recommend like maybe not doing it with your financial aid money, just so you can have it afterwards. You can use that money for something else. And if you do go buy like an iPad or a Mac computer, whatever computer you want to go buy, try to get it during like the school sale. Like get the deal. Wait for the deal. You know what I'm saying? Deals and discounts and coupons, those are gonna be your friends. So that's how I'm gonna say about that. So let's get into the nitty gritty of the actual loan. $280,000. Let's just mark it down to say 270 because those are my loans that actually have interest on them. So I've kind of just been like doing my research, trying to figure out what plan is going to work best for me. So if you haven't heard of like, some people approach their loans with like the snowball method, which is basically where you kind of line up all of your loans. Like I said, if you go on Ed Financial, they'll be kind of like listed out 1 through however many. And if you click on each one, it'll tell you the amount and the interest rate. So some people do the snowball method, which is when they tackle their lowest loans first. So they, like, let's say they have a loan, one of their loans is $2,200, maybe one's $3,000, maybe one's $1,500, whatever. So they kind of try to knock those out in the thought process of, okay, well, if those are gone, then I can put more money towards the big ones, things like that. I'm gonna use the avalanche method just because I'm an impatient person and I want my stuff to be done, okay? So to me, it's like a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient for me. And so basically, with the avalanche method, you still line up all of your loans, but what you do is you kind of take like your highest loans with the highest interest and you pay the loans off with the highest interest first, because in reality, that's gonna, it doesn't, to me personally, like, I don't like paying extra money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give y'all back what y'all gave me. Anything after that, I don't want to pay that. So to me, I'm kind of like, okay, well, let me take care of the big interest loans first, so that way, like, I can go ahead and knock those out and then kind of work my way down. So for me, that's what works. May not work for everybody, but that's what your girl gonna do. Okay, and I'll let y'all know how it go. I mean, it's not set in stone. I might get down the line and life may happen and, you know, you may need to make some adjustments. But for now, I think that's what I'm going to do. As far as like the order of which I'm going to pay my loans. Another thing is, like, when you're thinking about paying your loans, be prepared. I've always budgeted my money, like every single dollar was accounted for. I mean, since I was in college, since before that, working 2 jobs, whatever I had to do, every single dollar, like, I knew where it was at and I knew where it was going. So I do recommend that. I know for my people doing boards right now, you don't have time to be taking on nothing else, okay? Boards are next month. You don't have time. Honestly, don't even be watching me unless you're on your little 15-minute break. If you're on your 15-minute break, you can talk to me next month. The video gonna be here, okay? Go do what you gotta do. But for my people not studying for boards, when you go to Quad A, there's going to be like this kind of financial talk or whatever. I do recommend that y'all go to that because I actually learned a lot from that lecture. So basically, what I did was, while I was in school, while you're a student, you're not making any money. You don't have any income. So when you file your taxes, which some people won't file their taxes because they're like, I don't make any income. File your taxes. Because when it is time for you to go and start paying your loans, they're going to be looking at like your taxes from the year before. So if it looks like you didn't have any income, those high payments, like, your payment might be 0. You know what I'm saying? So that was the route I went. And that's kind of the strategy that you would use to kind of push that 6 months out into a year out, because that 6 months after you graduate, you're in deferment. But then, like, the next 6 months after that, yeah, they're gonna start asking for money, but they're gonna start asking for $0 because you didn't have any income. And then the year after that, once you do start working and making money and stuff like that, you can kind of ease into those payments, and it might be whatever, like if you were working half a year because maybe like the first year you weren't working, again, you're not making your full income. So it's not gonna be as high as if you bust out the window like, hey, I'm making $300,000. They're gonna be like, okay, so you can pay us some money. You can pay us some money every month. You can pay this whole thing. Now, they probably won't say you pay this whole thing, but basically, like, your monthly payment, they're gonna expect more because they're saying that you make more. That's what they see. So that's a tip that I have for y'all. That's a tip that someone taught me, so I'm giving it to y'all. What else? So for me, when I was talking about budgeting and doing all those things, that's how I plan to pay off my loans, by budgeting, kind of cutting some things where I can, but not being too dramatic where I'm like, well, I'm gonna eat these noodles tonight. Like, it ain't nothing wrong with noodles, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to feel like we work too hard to get here to still feel like I can only eat ramen and a bologna sandwich because that's all I can afford so I can pay off my loans. I don't want to go that extreme. You do have some people who, once they graduate, they take kind of like locum. Well, I won't really say locum jobs, because typically they want you to have either 6 months to a year experience before you can locum. But they take like really, really high paying jobs, but like shorter contract jobs, if you know what I'm saying. So those, or like in high impact areas, so that pay is higher, and they kind of use that money to pay off a majority of their loans. And it kind of like, the way some of the contracts work, it kind of like is locum work, because they're still responsible for their taxes and putting away for their retirement and all of those things. So if you're interested in doing that, you can also look at that route as well. There is a program, I believe it's in Missouri, where basically after you start working, after you graduate, there's a time period between like you graduated, you took your boards, you passed. Now, the hospital that you're going to work with, sometimes it takes some time for you to be accredited at the hospital. I've heard horror stories of it taking people months, 3 months, 4 months, and that's 3-4 months without pay. You know what I'm saying? So they do have, I think, a program in Missouri where you can work before you're accredited at the hospital. And now, don't get me wrong, I've heard they do work you, but the money is really, really, really good. So you can do something like that and use that money to pay your loans, or just kind of use that money to survive until your job comes up, okay? So, and that's why I say, like, don't be ashamed if you have to take your student loans, because I had to take out all of them, okay? I needed a plethora of loans because I used every single bit of it. For me, when I graduated, I wasn't able to go ahead and start working immediately because I had to retake my boards, right? So the financial aid money, since I budgeted well though, I was kind of able to make that money last a little bit longer afterwards, and I had to use the Bank of Dad. So I was very blessed and very fortunate to have him support me. So yeah, that was kind of how I made it through that kind of tough transition between like graduation and working versus not working. So, and also because I wasn't working right after, I just had like the time to really focus on passing the boards the second time. So yeah, so those are just things to think about when you think about your money, you think about paying loans, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of it as far as like what to expect. Tuition's $110, like a little recap. Tuition's about $110,000 to $120,000. That's like average between like the 12 or however many schools, 12 schools, whatever, between $110,000 and $120,000. They'll be called like Grad Plus loans, which is like a newer loan if you haven't taken loans out before, like if your parents paid for undergrad or if you paid for your own undergrad, it looks different when you apply for those loans, and it'll look different listed. Like I said, those are my highest interest rate loans, so those are the loans I plan on paying off first, okay? Currently, I think there are about 3 or 6 of those loans. 3 of those loans are probably, just to give y'all an idea, 3 of those loans are sitting at about $30,000 each, and the interest rate is like 7.5%. So just to give y'all kind of like a real aspect of what it looks like for me, okay? And like I said, I'm not like a financial guru. I'm doing what works for me. I'm just bringing y'all on the journey, okay? File your taxes before you graduate and everything, just so it looks, you didn't have any income, so make sure they know you didn't have any income, so that when it's time to do your deferment, you kind of get like an extra 6 months of not really having to pay anything, or at least paying like, maybe it's like the minimum or whatever like that. Aside from that, you need to budget, account for every dollar, especially when you start working, taking like your moving costs and all those things. And that's the other thing, like that kind of played into my personal loans too, because I needed money to get from North Carolina to Texas to even start the program, okay? No matter, like I said, I had a few jobs before, saved what I could, but it just kind of really didn't cut it when it got time to move here. Cost of living was higher. There were just a lot of things that you kind of don't really anticipate happening either, okay? So yeah, I feel like I don't think I have nothing else to add about the loans. Like, I think that's it. All of my other loans besides those, they're kind of between like I have 3 sections. My first loans from like undergrad and all those other places, whatever, the interest rate is probably between like 3 and 4%. Then I have like a mid-range of undergrad, which is probably maybe like 4.5% to maybe like 6%, and then my grad loans are like 7.5%. So that's just kind of to give y'all some real numbers to work with. Y'all might not look like that. Y'all might not be in the same situation as your girl, but I'm just letting y'all know what my situation look like, and maybe y'all's will look like that. I don't know. Some other things, some other tips that I heard about paying your student loans is like I said, I don't want to cut everything back to where I'm not kind of like living my life. Like, obviously I want to live my best life, but I'm okay with making sacrifices now, so I'll be better later. Okay, I'm still contributing to my retirement plan because I don't know, I did the math and I kind of tested it out, and for me it doesn't really help me not to contribute to it. Especially, I'm gonna at least contribute the percentage that I need to get a match. That doesn't really affect how well I'll be able to pay my loans in this case. So I'm definitely doing that. 2, I don't really have many things to cut back on. Like, a lot of my bills are non-negotiables. Like rent, that's a non-negotiable. Some other things like some bills that I might pay, like they're just non-negotiable. So it's easier for me to try to make more money than for me to really cut back on a lot of things. So that means more premium days for us, when I feel like it though, but more premium days for us. And I think I'm gonna give that a try for now. And like I said, life changes, things happen, and we'll just kind of go from there. And I'll let y'all know what I come up with, what we end up doing, all the things. So I hope I got through everything. I might have missed 1 or 2 things, but if y'all have any questions, of course, like, leave comments. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? Because I know I'll be posting, like, you know, sometimes it'll be once a week, sometimes it'll be every 2, whatever. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, hit me up on Instagram. Let's stay connected. I want to know where y'all are. Talk to me. What's going on? It's January. It's cold out here. I know some of y'all are getting ready for boards, and good luck with that. By the way, I did add some extra resources if you're in that Google Drive for boards. And if you don't watch the whole video, you wouldn't have known it. So anyway, have a good night. That was the tea, and I'm going to see y'all on the next one.